Retail isn't just changing in 2025, it's collapsing in real time. Storefronts that once felt permanent are now covered in liquidation banners. Beloved chains are folding under debt, shrinking foot traffic, and a customer base that quietly shifted online. And the speed of these shutdowns is unlike anything we've seen in over a decade. Why does this matter? Because the stores closing now are the ones people rely on for prescriptions, electronics, clothing, home goods, and everyday essentials, gift cards, warranties, returns. All of it becomes risky when a retailer suddenly goes dark. Today, we're breaking down 12 major US retail giants that are either done entirely or gutting their store footprint in 2025. Some are icons of the mall era, others are household staples. But all of them are running out of runway fast. And trust me, the final name on this list is one most shoppers assumed would outlive the competition. Number 1. Macy's. For decades, Macy's was the heartbeat of the American mall. Bright lights, polished counters, and whole floors of clothing and cosmetics. It felt permanent. But in 2025, that familiar red star is fading faster than most shoppers realize. Foot traffic has been slipping for years, and the massive buildings that once overflowed with weekend crowds are now struggling to stay profitable. Macy's can't keep pace with the speed of modern retail, where trends change in weeks and online competitors move faster and cheaper. The result is rising costs, slower turnover, and stores that simply don't make financial sense anymore. You can see the pressure everywhere. Locations are quietly disappearing from malls, leaving empty entrances and half-stocked aisles. And when a Macy's closes, the entire mall around it weakens. Smaller stores lose their anchor, foot traffic drops, and local jobs vanish with it. For customers, the impact is immediate. Gift cards become harder to use, returns get complicated, and favorite brands often vanish long before a location officially shuts its doors. Everything feels like a company bracing for something bigger. And here's the warning: if Macy's, the symbol of American department stores, is shrinking this quickly, the rest of the industry is standing on even thinner ice. Because the next retailer on this list isn't just downsizing, they're closing stores at a pace that makes Macy's look stable. Number 2, Walgreens. Walgreens used to be the reliable stop on nearly every corner, the place for prescriptions, quick snacks, or last-minute essentials. But in 2025, that familiar storefront is disappearing faster than most shoppers realize. The chain is squeezed from all sides. Prescription margins are down, online pharmacies are pulling customers away, and labor costs keep rising while foot traffic slips. Add weaker insurance reimbursements and too many underperforming locations. And suddenly, Walgreens is carrying more stores than it can afford to keep open. Even in the locations that remain, the strain is clear. Short-staffed counters, locked aisles, and shelves that feel thinner all point to a company cutting costs wherever possible. Entire neighborhoods have already watched their local Walgreens close, creating real gaps in access to medication and basic healthcare. For customers, the impact lands quickly. Prescriptions get transferred farther away, wait times grow, and 24-hour pharmacies quietly disappear. It's a slow shift, but one that's already reshaping routines in communities that depended on these stores for years. And with additional closures already planned for 2025, the chain's footprint is set to shrink even further. But the next retailer on this list faces a completely different kind of pressure, one driven not by healthcare costs, but by a business model struggling to survive a fast-changing economy. If you're keeping track of these shifts to protect your budget and avoid being stuck with useless gift cards, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and tell me which retailer surprised you so far. Number 3, CVS. Where Walgreens is struggling with mounting costs, CVS is navigating a quieter but very intentional shift. For years, the company positioned itself as a community health hub. Prescriptions, clinics, and convenience items all under one roof. But in 2025, that footprint is getting noticeably smaller as CVS rethinks what belongs in its stores. This isn't a collapse, it's a selective retreat. Prescriptions are moving online, insurance networks are changing, and many shoppers now rely on delivery instead of quick in-person visits. That shift has pushed CVS to close locations that no longer fit the way customers use them, redirecting resources toward digital care and fewer, more efficient stores. The change is visible inside the locations that remain. Hours are trimmed, clinic services are scaled back, and some aisles look lighter than they once did. It's not failure, it's a transition, but for customers, the impact still hits close to home. When a CVS closes, prescriptions move to already busy stores. Wait times stretch longer, and simple errands require a farther drive. In some neighborhoods, especially those with limited transportation, losing a CVS means losing one of the few accessible healthcare touchpoints they had. CVS isn't disappearing, but it is becoming smaller and more digital-driven, reshaping how millions of people get everyday healthcare. And while CVS adjusts its strategy, the next retailer on this list is facing a fight for survival. One where slipping sales and shrinking demand are pushing the entire chain toward a breaking point. Number 4. Best Buy. Best Buy was once the center of consumer tech, bright aisles, buzzing demo stations, and shelves full of new gadgets. But in 2025, that experience is slipping away as the company quietly retreats from markets it once dominated. The shift began when shoppers started treating stores as showrooms and buying online for lower prices. Best Buy tried to hold on with services and warranties, but that advantage is shrinking as margins tighten and customers expect fast, cheap delivery without visiting a store. Walk into certain locations now, and the change is clear. Smaller sections, fewer displays, and empty stretches where full categories used to be. Best Buy isn't collapsing. It's contracting, closing slow stores and downsizing others to cut costs. The big box tech playground is becoming rare. For customers, the impact is immediate. Fewer stores mean fewer places to troubleshoot problems, grab a TV the same day, or get real hands-on advice. Returns slow, repairs move to larger hubs, and the excitement of trying new devices in person is disappearing. Best Buy is still here, but its footprint is shrinking. Not because tech is fading, but because buying habits have changed for good. And as Best Buy steps back, the next retailer on this list is fighting a much deeper decline. One driven by shrinking budgets and slowing demand. Number 5. Big Lots. Big Lots built its reputation on timing, catching the right closeout deals, filling shelves with surprises, and giving shoppers a reason to browse even when they weren't planning to buy. But as 2025 unfolds, that formula is cracking, and the company is trying to navigate a retail landscape that no longer plays to its strengths. The slowdown didn't come from one moment. As household costs climbed, people pulled back on big purchases, and furniture, a core profit driver for Big Lots, became harder to move. Meanwhile, dollar chains and online sellers tightened their grip on everyday essentials, leaving Big Lots squeezed between rising costs and shrinking customer loyalty. In many stores, the shift is easy to see. Shelves look lighter, sections feel stretched, and the treasure hunt energy that defined the chain is fading. After several weak quarters, the company has already begun closing underperforming locations, signaling that 2025 will be a year of contraction rather than recovery. For shoppers, that means fewer dependable deals and fewer budget-friendly choices in communities that often rely on them most. And while Big Lots works to rebuild its footing, the next retailer on this list faces a very different challenge. One where massive scale has turned into a liability overnight. Number 6. Dollar Tree and Family Dollar. Dollar Tree and Family Dollar once felt unstoppable. Thousands of low-cost stores serving neighborhoods from big cities to rural towns. But in 2025, that enormous footprint has become a burden, and the company is now preparing for one of its largest closure waves ever. The trouble started when rising costs made the original $1 model impossible to maintain. Prices crept up, margins tightened, and the chain's reputation for predictable bargains weakened. At the same time, shrinkage, staffing shortages, and fierce competition from bigger discounters pushed both brands into deeper financial trouble. Walk into many locations now, and the strain is obvious. Narrow aisles with sporadic stock, long checkout lines, and sections that feel forgotten. These aren't signs of temporary dips. They're signs of a company trimming aggressively just to stabilize. For shoppers, the impact is significant. In many areas, these stores fill essential gaps: groceries, household basics, and affordable essentials that other retailers simply don't offer at the same price. And as Dollar Tree and Family Dollar regroup, the next retailer on this list is seeing a very different decline. One where a business built on celebration is facing a far more sobering reality. Number 7. Party City. Party City once owned every celebration: the balloons, the costumes, the themed aisles full of color. For years, it was the destination for birthdays, school events, and especially Halloween. But in 2025, the chain is struggling to keep the party going as hundreds of stores head toward closure. The decline began when seasonal shopping shifted online. Costumes and decorations that shoppers once grabbed in-store became cheaper and more customizable on the internet. Ad inflation and decreased discretionary spending, and fewer families were willing to pay full price for elaborate celebrations. Multiple bankruptcies followed, and now the company is closing locations at a pace it can barely manage. Walk into many remaining stores, and the shift is obvious. Balloon counters are understaffed, displays look smaller, and shelves feel lighter than they once did. The energy that used to define Party City is fading fast. For shoppers, it means fewer places for last-minute party supplies and fewer physical stores offering the hands-on help the chain was known for. And as Party City fights to survive, the next retailer on this list is facing a collapse driven not by seasons, but by entire communities shifting their shopping habits online. Number 8. Jo-Ann Fabrics. Jo-Ann Fabrics was once a creative haven. Aisles packed with fabrics, yarns, patterns, and every material a crafter could want. But in 2025, that familiar green and white storefront is becoming rare as the company struggles through another wave of closures. The decline took hold as crafting supplies moved online. The variety was bigger, the prices were lower, and customers could get what they needed without a trip across town. At the same time, Jo-Ann's growing debt and rising operating costs made it hard to compete. After filing for bankruptcy again, the company began shutting down more stores. Walk through the locations that remain, and the difference is clear. Shelves feel thinner, seasonal sections look scaled back, and staff is stretched as the company tries to cut costs. The inspiration and abundance that once defined Jo-Ann are fading. For shoppers, the loss is more than inconvenience. Many crafters need to feel fabrics, compare textures, and get hands-on help. Things online shopping can't replace. And as Jo-Ann works to steady itself, the next retailer on this list is dealing with a decline unfolding right at the heart of America's malls. Number 9. Foot Locker and Champs. Foot Locker and Champs were once the pulse of sneaker culture. Loud music, full walls of new releases, and the excitement of finding a pair before anyone else. But in 2025, both brands are shrinking fast as the sneaker world changes around them. The shift began when major brands like Nike and Adidas pushed heavily into direct-to-consumer sales, offering their biggest releases through their own apps. Instead of retail partners, Foot Locker suddenly had fewer exclusives, fewer hype drops, and fewer reasons for teens to visit. With mall traffic falling and leases rising, the company moved forward with hundreds of closures. In the remaining stores, the change is easy to spot. The walls feel emptier, the selection more basic, and the energy that once defined the space is fading. Without constant limited releases, the thrill simply isn't the same. For customers, the impact is straightforward: fewer places to try shoes in person, and fewer chances to grab a release without relying on online raffles. And as these sneaker icons pull back, the next retailer on this list is facing a decline rooted in a comeback attempt that's unraveling almost as quickly as it started. Number 10. Bed Bath & Beyond, reborn under overstock. Bed Bath & Beyond used to be the home essentials powerhouse, towering shelves of bedding, endless kitchen gadgets, and aisles filled with clever finds. When the brand collapsed, Overstock tried to revive it with a modern, online-first approach. But in 2025, that comeback is already losing steam. The biggest challenge is trust. Customers still remember the final chaotic years. Empty shelves, confusing layouts, and liquidation signs everywhere, even under new ownership. The brand struggled to shake that image. Online competitors expanded, home goods spending softened, and supply issues made it hard to offer a consistent experience. Some rebranded locations underperformed immediately, leading to another wave of closures. Inside the surviving stores, inconsistency stands out. Some sections look stocked, while others feel sparse. The once iconic variety is smaller, and the identity of the store feels caught between old expectations and a new business model. For customers, that unpredictability dulls the excitement of the brand's return. And as Bed Bath & Beyond fights for stability, the next retailer on this list is struggling with a different challenge, surviving in a middle market that's rapidly disappearing. Number 11, Kohl's. Kohl's built its reputation as the safe middle ground, affordable clothing, home goods, and a familiar layout that brought families back week after week. But in 2025, that middle lane is narrowing, and Kohl's is feeling the pressure from both ends of the industry. Budget-focused shoppers now lean toward discount chains and fast fashion platforms, while customers seeking higher quality brands go straight to online retailers. Kohl's ends up caught between both shifts, offering value that no longer stands out. After several weak quarters, the company began closing underperforming stores and reevaluating its identity. In the stores that remain open, the change is visible. Aisles feel emptier, departments rotate frequently, and the mix of brands shifts constantly as Kohl's searches for what resonates. The dependable weekly foot traffic has thinned dramatically. For shoppers, the experience feels less consistent, fewer nearby stores and inventory that changes more than it once did. And as Kohl's tries to stay relevant in a shrinking middle market, the final retailer on this list is facing a decline that has been unfolding slowly for years. Number 12. JCPenney. JCPenney was once a staple of American malls, a place for clothing, home goods, and those weekend family shopping trips that defined an era. But in 2025, the chain continues its long decline, with another round of closures shaping what feels like the final chapters of a decades-long struggle. The problems go back years. Outdated store designs, inconsistent branding, and missed fashion trends left JCPenney behind faster competitors. Bankruptcy gave temporary relief, but didn't fix the fact that shoppers had already moved to brands with stronger identities and online stores offering better convenience. Recovering that lost foot traffic has proven nearly impossible. Inside the remaining locations, the atmosphere reflects the uncertainty. Some sections look refreshed, while others feel untouched for years. Inventory swings from packed to thin, and the experience lacks the consistency that once made the brand reliable. For customers, each closure removes one of the last full-service department stores in their area, a place to compare styles in person without shopping across several different retailers. The name still has recognition, but not the relevance it once did. And with each new wave of consolidation, JCPenney's role in American retail shrinks, leaving malls emptier and shoppers with fewer traditional options than ever before. The retail landscape is shifting faster than ever, and these 12 giants show just how quickly a familiar storefront can disappear. Rising costs, shrinking foot traffic, online competition. The patterns are impossible to ignore, and 2025 is becoming a defining year for which brands adapt and which ones fall away. For shoppers, the message is simple. Stay alert. Use gift cards sooner. Check the status of your local stores, and don't assume a big-name brand is safe just because it's been around for decades. If you found this breakdown helpful, be sure to like the video, subscribe, and let me know in the comments which retailer surprised you the most, and stay tuned. The next video covers the chains that are actually growing in 2025 while the rest pull back.